Hey, hey there. Hey there. It's getting a bit late, but it was on my mind that I wanted to do an episode on something that's been sticking out for me for a little while now. And I think the way I see things on this particular topic is pretty different in a good or bad way, depending on who you are, to a lot of other people in the similar space. I'm a big fan of a lot of personal development people. uh, Hormozy, Robbins, Graziosi, Weatherford, Ed Milet, all those sort of guys get a lot from Mel Robbins, everybody. Everyone's got something different to offer. And I love that somebody can say a very similar thing to another person, but in their own language and in their own words. And just like kind of like when your parents, like when you're a kid and your parents would tell you not to do something and they tell you not to do it 1,000 times, and you'd be like, yeah, no worries, no worries. And then, but if someone else told you that, you're like, oh, they got a point. Your parents are like, what the, anyway, it's the same thing with my kids as well. But it's that sort of thing where put a different way by a different person might sink in a bit more to you, or it might kind of click, or particular words used, or just their nature kind of sits a bit better with you for some reason, and you absorb it and you learn it and you adhere to it or abide by it or take it on board at the very least to consider it. And I think one of the things that have been, it's kind of synonymous with personal development because obviously it's working on yourself, it's getting better and those sorts of things. However, that grind and hustle mindset, I think there's very little wiggle room spoken about. I think for a lot of them, a lot of people. And I think that's where it falls short for me personally, because I think it comes down to, like so many things, your value system. And we can go into that another time, but your value system will not look the same as other people because you're a unique person. You've grown up differently, you've had different parents, different friends, different experiences, and that will guide your values and your beliefs and your ethics and you. That will guide you differently than it would me and other people. But one thing I do see a lot at the moment, and since I originally got into personal development, was that sort of hustle and grind mindset, and it's 14-hour, 16-hour days. You do. I like the do what is required. I like the doing what is required. You will do that in order to get where you want to go. I like that. I think where that notion and mindset of I'm going to sacrifice everything until I get there, I think depending on your situation can really work against you. Like if you're single and you've got nothing else going on and you are just honed in, friendships and all that other stuff, everyone is doing their own thing and you're just locked in and you're not missing out on what's important to you, then that's awesome. That's probably the best time in your life to be able to do that sort of intensive, this thing is not working, intensive sort of um, work, really. Intensive work and intensive focus and that time intensive work on yourself. And I think the great thing about that mindset is you're able to move the needle so much further. Like you're able to build what you want to build from the ground up and foundationally so strong because you're so honed in. You're just, it's like anything. You're going to get better at something the more you do it. The more time you spend on it, the more time you build something, the stronger it'll get. So that mindset is awesome. It is a great thing. And I think that sort of approach is an awesome thing if you're able to do it, if you're in that particular part and time of your life. However, I'm a father of four. I'm married. I know what sort of husband I want to be, how I want to show up for my wife, what sort of man I am, what sort of man I want to be. I also, what friend I want to be, all that sort of thing. But really importantly, along with the husband aspect of things, is what dad and what father I want to be. And for me, I can't in good conscience spend 14 hours a day away from my kids if it doesn't also include sleeping, because that's ultimately 14 hours and then another 8 or 6 for sleep. And that's a few hours with my kids, a couple hours with my kids per day. And I don't see them and myself having having the relationship that I'd like to have with them and that I do have with them already without that. Because like building a business, like building yourself, like any sort of growth, if you're not spending time on it, how are you meant to improve it? So how am I meant to improve my relationship with my kids if I'm not actively spending time with my kids, if I'm not having thoughtful conversations, disagreements, learning moments, teaching moments with my kids? I don't see how that's possible. And again, the grind and mentality of entrepreneurs, I love. And that's why, I'm doing this also. There's so much that I resonate with. But I think when it comes to this, what are you sacrificing? If you're okay with what you're sacrificing, then that is the way to do it. Hustle, grind, kick ass, do what you got to do to get where you want to go as quickly as possible. If that's what it is, do it. If that's where you are, do it. That's great. But if you're sacrificing your family, your marriage, your relationship with your son or daughter, and you're sacrificing that for money, for success, and things like that, ask yourself, what is more important to you? Is an extra story on your house more important? Because if it is, then that's your values and where your heart is. However, if you're like, actually, no, I'm doing this to have a better life for my kids and stuff like that, with my kids, that's great. And that's that motivation. And everything's a balance, right? It doesn't mean don't go work hard. I want to make that very clear. It's not don't go work hard, don't do what is required, but it's be smart about your grind and hustle and all the other cliche words that we chuck out there. Be smart about the time that you put in. Because if that time is coming directly out of your time that is building what is most important to you, your family, your relationships, and whatever else, then is that a sacrifice? Is that the sacrifice you want to make? I wouldn't personally think that it is. It doesn't sound like it, if that's what is the case. I know of people who, even the really successful entrepreneurs and heads of personal development in their own fields, say, I really worked hard. I was doing so much, and we lived like this, and we sacrificed. And, I missed birthdays, and I missed little league games, and a lot of it's American stuff. But, I missed out on all these relationship building moments. I missed out on all these times that I could have had building my relationship with my kids and my wife and things like that. But we got there in the end. That's awesome that you got there in the end. That's fantastic. I'm very happy for you. And I'm happy that you get to spend time with your family now. But those kids were only that age for that time. And there's so much study, there's so much evidence saying how important the younger years of life are for kids, for their relationship with their parents. You're their favorite person up until like 10. I believe that's it. It's around 10 or something. And they're kind of like, there's other people around. There's some cool people. There's some less dorky people. I'm like, I get it. That's fine. I understand. And my kids, my eldest is 9. So I got 8 months until I'm less. Well, I will be a lot lamer in 8 months. So I'll take it as it comes, but I'll see how we go. You only have that small amount of time with them growing them, growing you, growing your relationship together. And there's so many brilliant times that you will have together, regardless of age, regardless of your situation. But there's so many times where your kid doesn't give a crap about an extra story on the house. That's nice. but they want to share it with their dad. They want to be around their dad. They want to do stuff with you. They want like they want to be around their mum. They want to do things with mum, and that's the great thing about kids. They just want to be with you. Like when I've talked to new parents before, and I'm sidetracking a little bit because it just goes into that importance for kids of just how much they just want to be around you. Like I've talked to multiple new parents or people who are about to become parents, and they go, well, what do I do? It's like looking after this whole new person and all this other stuff. I said, oh, well, the great thing about the kids is they just want to do stuff with you. So whatever you're doing, just take them along, and you'll chat to them. You'll show them how to do things. You end up teaching them and chatting with them and getting to know them more, and vice versa. And you develop this little relationship every single moment of every single day that you spend together. And it's awesome. It's lovely. It's powerful, and just makes your heart grow. And I just don't see how that's worth sacrificing. And that's my values. Where I am in my life, that's not something that I'm worth sacrificing. And the reason why this came up for me is because I'm shown that every day, because it is a very common mentality in this particular field. But how I put it to myself is I'm content, but I'm not satisfied. I'm content, but I'm not satisfied. So I'm content with my life. And that might be the problem for a lot of people out there. That could be a problem for a lot of people out there, is going like, how do I get ahead? I'm trying to juggle this, and this, these people, my family. What do I do? How do I do it? And it's got to look like what is important to you. It's got to align with you. So what is success to you? What is satisfaction in your life? What is fulfillment in your life? Fulfillment is a big thing. Being fulfilled is having no gaps, just total fulfillment, total completion of goals and everything like that. And obviously, it might be fulfillment in parts of your life and things like that. But what does contentment look for you as well? Is every day tough for you? Is every day really hard? Really like, man, I'm just not enjoying this. This is really shit. This is really hard. Is that what it is every day for you? Or is it you actually had a great day? You actually enjoyed being with your kids. You worked hard. You had fun. You had dinner with them. You put them to bed. You tucked them in. You had a nice time. And you worked hard. You exercised. You spent time with the people you love the most. You sowed into their lives. If you did all those things, but then at the end of the day, you're going, oh, crap, I'm just not there yet. Like, just haven't, I'm not really, my earning capacity hasn't gone up. I'm not really working on that project or whatever it is. Put some time towards those things for sure. But is it more important than these other factors that are these other tanks that you've filled for the day, that you're filling? Are they more important? Because if they are, you did great. You did awesome. And I'm not just giving you a pat on the back or myself and saying it's okay not to strive. I'm not saying that. I'm saying put it in perspective. Put it in perspective. And if it aligns with you and you've done what is the most important, then you're on track. And if you're working on the other things also, you're on track. You're doing great. Keep going. Just know that it may take a little bit longer to get there because you're not able or you're not willing to put in 14, 16, 18-hour days and sacrifice what is the most important thing to you. If you're not willing to sacrifice those things for these other outcomes that may be very important to you, maybe this is number 3 on the list, and your family and your marriage are your most important things, or your faith and whatever it is, whatever that's like 1 and 2, but business success is number 3. You're just going in order of priority. So it's not putting number 3 at number 1 for a time and then eventually trying to get back the years that you missed. And that's the thing I keep hearing from super successful people, that they want to get back the years that they missed sacrificing by hustling, by grinding, by, late nights at the office, or networking and all these other things, which you have to do some of these things sometimes. That's fine. But if it's always at the expense of your family, kids pick up on that. They pick up on everything. They're parrots. They will repeat stuff that you say and your mannerisms, and they will see what you do. Instead of being attentive to them, are you always on your phone? They see that. And that tells them that tells them subconscious messages. Dad's not interested. Mum doesn't really care. She's too busy on her phone. If that's what it is, that's what they're picking up on. If they see that you're too busy for them, sorry, mate, I've got to go to the office again tonight. Sorry, I can't make the game, then you're going to be seen as too busy for them. You're not interested in them. To them, you may be, again, so focused on seeing them, so focused on being with them, but your actions are showing something different. There's got to be at least a balance or an alignment to what is important to you. So the problem is, if you're struggling with that comparison to, these super successful entrepreneurs and what they say is required in order to get the success, but then you're trying to apply it to your life, one size doesn't fit all. So see what does fit. Does it fit to work a certain amount of hours? Does it fit to do a particular lifestyle with this? Does it work with your family? Does it work with the way that you run your days with your family? I suggest, and I would recommend, that you zoom out. I have to remind myself to do this very frequently, is to zoom out, because I will hone in on something and then I'll realize I'm looking way at it and I'm dissecting it and I'm maybe overthinking it, or I'm going, I'm nitpicking it, all that sort of stuff. And then if I zoom out, I realize I'm like, okay, no, I'm not as far away as what I thought. Or I might be right there with this particular business or move that I'm trying to make, or next step, and whatever else it may be. So if you zoom out, look at what your life is currently. Was it a life that you would have wanted 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, talked about as a kid? Because you might have so much of what you always wanted, like a loving wife, loving husband, great kids, a house or land or a place, a roof over your heads, whatever it may be, a job that you enjoy. It could be any of those things, friends that you care about. If you've got a lot of what is important to you and that has been important to you in your life already, but you're just wanting more, that's fine to want more and to go for more. But zoom out and put it in perspective. Have you got all the core things? It's like, yeah, actually, if I zoom out in my life, I'm not satisfied with where I am in multiple parts of my life, but I am satisfied in the key parts of my life. I have an amazing wife. I adore my children. I love my relationship with them. I love getting to do life with them every day, regardless of what we do. And these things are so important to me. My faith is so important to me. And I love that I'm learning a lot more and I'm growing a lot more and I'm more confident in certain parts of my faith, like hearing from God more and everything. And I'm growing in that too. And I'm not satisfied in that either. And I want to be a better parent, and I want to be a better everything in my life. I personally in my life want to reach as close to my full potential as possible. I want to try and be fulfilled in every part of my life. And I know that's a very lofty goal, but you got to try, right? I'm not going to just be sitting around and going 25%. That's pretty sick. 76, whatever it is. I'm not super keen to do that. I'm not content with half-assing it or not giving it everything. And that's where it comes to. I am content. I am growing. I am happy with my life. And if nothing changed today, would I be disappointed? No. I wouldn't be disappointed. I'd go, I wish I got to do that. I wish I got to experience that. But the main things, the most important things are there. And if your life is like that, you may not be as far away as you want it to. And if it is far away and you aren't feeling content and you aren't feeling satisfied, ask yourself what contentment would look like, and then what being satisfied would look like, being fulfilled would look like. because maybe you're not content with what you're doing and how you're doing it. Maybe it's a tweak in the opposite direction than what you've been going for, because maybe you've been busting your ass to try and really set things up and to get where you want to go, but it's been pulling you further away from what is most important to you. And that's out of whack. That's you not in line. You're misaligned with your values. You're here and your values are here. If you're in alignment with that, then you're good. You're sweet. You're on the right path that you want to be on. So maybe it is you've been grinding like crazy, you've been working really hard, you've been putting in all the hours, and it's all for your family, and that's honorable and that's great. And these are awesome qualities to have and to be. But let's look at how to align them with your family and what is most important to you, or align them with your values, or align them with the things that is really important in your life. Maybe you have hobbies and passions that you are so passionate about, so much more passionate about than what you're doing right now, and you're not making any time for it because it's just sacrificed. It's like, unfortunately, it can be very easy to sacrifice the most important things in our lives for some reason. The most key, it's like you don't sacrifice the crappy parts, but the really good parts, you're like, I'll get rid of them for a bit. That's really odd. That's super weird. But we as people tend to do that. So have a look about what you're going, okay, I don't want to sacrifice that anymore, or I at least need to find a better balance than what I've got. Let's do that, because this is going to work out much better if we do. So ask yourself, are you content? Is your life okay where it is right now? Are you satisfied? That'll help guide you into what's next. Zoom out of your life. Get a better look at what your life looks like, has looked like, and where you are now. Is it in the right direction? Ultimately, your ultimate goals, your ultimate satisfaction and fulfillment in life, is it heading there? That'll give you the next step too. That'll give you the next thing of what to focus on. If nothing changed, would you be okay? If so, you may be content. That's awesome. However, would you like more? Would you like to strive for things? Do you have goals in different parts of life? If so, then you may not be fully satisfied, and that's okay. That means we've got to make time for those things too, but we've got to fit them around what's most important. That's it. It's a juggling thing. You'll get more efficient. Not every day is going to look the same for family, for work, whatever it may be, but you'll make it look how it's supposed to in your life. It's not going to look like mine. It's not going to look like your friends, your neighbors, whatever. It will look how it's supposed to look in your life, because it's not a one size fits all. And there's a million different ways to the same goal. That's one thing I firmly believe. There is so many different ways to the same goal. The same success can be found in different ways and different methods. That success could be, financially, business, relationally. It could be music goals. It could be, getting big off music, sport, gym. Gym, there's a million different ways to lift, like different workout splits and everything to get this desired physique or goal or outcome. And you get told all these different things, but ultimately, if you stick with most of them, if not almost, I would say nearly all of them, you'll see success. It's consistency, it's dedication, and there's these factors to it that you can implement in all these different stylistic approaches, and you'll get there. There's different ways to the same goal. You just got to find yours. So find out whether you're content or satisfied right now. What are those goals, and how can you move towards them? Not to tug on the heartstrings or anything just before the end of this episode, but to show you the importance of it, of what we're saying here. Think about the sentence, if you were a kid, how would you finish the sentence? I wish my dad would. And do you think that sentence would ever be, I wish my dad would work harder? I wish my dad would sacrifice more? I wish my dad would spend more time at the office or on the farm or whatever it is? Or is it, I wish my dad would spend more time with me? I wish my dad would seek me out. I wish my dad would ask me how I was today. I wish my dad would ask me about what I like, what I care about. And odds are, if we're sacrificing our time with the people who we love the most, we're out of alignment, and we are fulfilling that pretty sad scenario of our kids kind of wondering where we are while we're not spending time with them. So think about what's most important to you, because I'm content, but I'm not satisfied. Maybe you're the same, but maybe you're not content. Maybe you're not satisfied. Maybe we just got to tweak a few things, and that's okay. We're going to get there though, because we're not going to stop until we do. So that's what we'll do. We'll do what is required, but we'll do it in our own way. So thank you for listening. That was good. That's been on my mind a lot. That's that I'm content but not satisfied, because I don't see a lot of people talking about that, but it's a way I feel very strongly about. So I really hope it helped you. I really hope it spoke to someone today, and I hope that it made you rethink where you are, where you're going, and I guess what you're going toward. And I really hope that it just aligns with where you want to be and who you want to be with. So go kick butt today, and I hope it applies to you in some way, or you can learn from it in some way. That's awesome. So I hope if that applies to you, good luck with it, and sing out. If you have any thoughts or questions or queries or anything like that, if that applies to you, please consider some of these things and see where you land, because again, one size doesn't fit all. So good luck applying it to you. Thank you very much for listening. And again, I really hope you're all doing well. If this has helped you in any way, or if you think it would help anyone else in your life that may be going through something similar or bringing up certain questions or queries, please share this with someone that you care about. And all the best. Take care, guys. I'll see you in the next one. This is Hi Struggling, I'm Dad, by the way.